Hey guys, little note from Cindy. I accidentally deleted Road Rage Part 1 entirely. It's unrecoverable. So we're going to put out Road Rage Part 2 first, and then we're going to re-record Part 1. So apologies, some of the things we talk about might not make any sense, but everything will be revealed once we re-record the episode that I so intelligently deleted. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Twisted Listeners. Hey, Twisted Listeners. Hey, Twisted Listeners. What do I normally say? I don't know. I'm Cindy,
And I'm deep
and this is Twisted Listeners, a podcast about murder.
endless.
Do you ever have that moment where your brain is just like, I no longer know what I've said the last 400 times I've said it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just did that right there. I'm still unsure. So, we're late again. I actually wasn't able. It's funny when you said I got to pull up Audacity. I haven't posted the last one of these because I had to reinstall Audacity and finally just got it to work this morning. So that was cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, on top of everything else, I was like, cool, this program doesn't work anymore. And I can't post this without that program. So that'll be great. Get these up. This is part 2 of Road Rage Incidents. These are pretty fucked up cases. It was a listener request. Our listener lives in Oklahoma. They requested these and they were like, there's so many in Oklahoma. So for today, I chose an Oklahoma case that's actually
Nice.
less than a year old. So yeah, pretty excited
Ooh.
for that. It's another rainy weekend in LA. It rains every weekend
Mm-hmm.
here. We live in hell, and it just ruins everything. It's like all week when you're working and you want to be outside, you can't be because you're working. It's beautiful. It's fucking perfect weather. And then the weekend, it's like, haha, get fucked. And I love
I like it because I like it because I'm cozy inside and watching movies and my baby's napping and I have tea and I have blankies and
well, good
it's all very
for
cozy for me.
fucking you. Okay.
Although I should say I'm also spoiled because I'm still on leave and so I go outside all week.
Yeah.
So
Keep talking. Keep
that's the
fucking
difference.
talking to you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rub it in how much I get to enjoy the sunshine with my baby all week long,
God
and
damn it.
then
That's great.
sorry.
No, you know what? I'm not mad at all about that. I'm mad that I don't have that. I'm stoked that you do. I love that you get to do that. I think
Mm,
everybody should get to do that. Um, but I also saw a report that was rolled into a meme that said that as of this year, Los Angeles has received more rain than Seattle. Okay?
that's weird. That's fucking weird. Is Seattle having a fucking drought? Like, what's
I
happening?
think it's the end times, personally. Like, there's no fucking way
Yeah,
that that's like something that we can report
I
that
mean,
doesn't have like horrific implications.
yeah. Also, it's just been really cold here, and by cold I mean like 70.
Dude, it is 40,
Sorry, East
it's
Coast.
47 degrees outside right now in April
Okay.
in Los
Well,
Angeles. Like,
I mean, like this whole week is like a high of 70, and I'm like, what the hell, you know?
dude, I know.
So it's been kind of slow to like warm up. Um, I think this is the whip in the weather report with Cindy and Dean. I know
Yeah,
you're all very
here it is.
interested in Los Angeles weather trends.
Tell me you're from
Actually,
LA without telling me you're from LA. You either talk about weather or traffic.
my my weather says 51 degrees and haze. That's great.
Well,
That's really nice.
I'm in the valley. It's
Um,
colder and wetter over here. Anyway,
yeah, the by the way, if you like this SNL sketch, The Californians, where they just talk
the
about
four,
traffic
yeah,
and how to get, that is so
it's so
accurate. That
real.
is like, it literally happens to me on like a weekly basis, and like people around me, my family, my friends will just be talking about how to get to and between different places on different freeways, and I'm like, this sketch is a documentary.
Dude,
That sketch.
it's so real. I'm surprised
It's
it took them so long to figure it out, you know?
yeah. Take the 405 to the 101 and
Like,
Mulholland and
yeah, like the beachy part, like I'm not like a surfer bro, but like it makes it more funny. But like everybody in LA does that all the time. We just talk about traffic and how long. And you also talk about it in terms of like not the distance, but how long it will take you. You know, like you always, oh, it's like an hour. Oh, it's like 45 minutes. Like, because the distance is irrelevant when you live in a place that is just clogged up with cars 100% of the time. Anyway, okay, there you guys go. We hit all the LA topic talking points. All right, let's get into it. Should we do it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do
I
my
don't know why
case.
my audio's messed up.
Oh, it sounds better now.
Because it's better. Okay, I just moved my mic slightly. It's the only thing on though. My other stuff's not.
I sent Diva a note while we were talking that was like, "You sound like you're in a hallway again," and that's what we're referring to. But now you sound way better, so it's gonna be better for everybody when they're
There
listening.
you go. Behind the scenes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a whole moment into shining a light on how we do things. Anyway, okay. So I am going to talk about a case out of Oklahoma that occurred last July 18th, 2023. This is the case of Mark Kottka and Christian Garola. And this takes place in, like I said, sorry, like I said, it takes place in Oklahoma. Moore, Oklahoma, I think is where it was. Norman, Oklahoma, maybe? Norman. I think they're really close to each other. So let's just talk about Mark Kotka. Mark Kotka, I don't actually know how old he is. He's 53, 55. 55-year-old Mark Kotka is a retired some military shit who was also a cop who was then or is then a firearms and patrol rifle. He wrote rife. He might mean rifle instructor. I don't know. Rifle. Yes, he can't spell. Or he just doesn't check. He doesn't spell check himself. Cleat adjunct firearms and patrol rifle instructor part-time. He's been doing this in Oklahoma for 22 years. He's an instructor in wheel guns, semi-autos, shotgun, and patrol rifle at the state's basic academy and the PNP district. So this guy's a fucking gun nut, ex-cop, military guy. I'm going to read you a little bit from his ex profile, which was Twitter. His profile photo, his I guess I didn't know this because I don't go on this cesspool of an app, but they have like background photos and it's like Facebook. Like you have your banner photo and like your
Yeah.
profile photo. His banner photo, this really pisses me off. It's Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday in Tombstone, which like no, sir. And then his profile is of course a thin blue line flag with some weird Christian thing in front of it. And it says, check your six, protect your brother. And then you go down really just a short ways and you see a pride flag and a Black Lives Matter flag with him saying, we must ban all of these from classrooms. One down, he's being transphobic against Dylan Mulvaney. You keep going down, would you fight if war came to American soil? Like, so this is who this guy is. And of course he was a cop. You absolutely want a piece of shit like this to be a fucking cop, right? Like that makes sense.
I mean, he's gonna get the job if he's filling out the application. He checks all the boxes of what they what they want.
Absolutely
so.
Unbelievable. Now I'm going to talk about Christian Garola. He was a 41-year-old. He was born and raised in Roswell, New Mexico, and moved to Oklahoma. I'm not sure why. He was a standout football player at Mesa Middle School. He went to Roswell High briefly, then went to Texas Tech. He was scouted by Texas Tech, actually. I don't think he ever went there because he decided he didn't want to play football. He chose. And it's always interesting to me when you have athletes that are so good they could go pro and they don't want to. But I respect that. Like, live your life the way you want to. Like, not everything is about money, and if he wasn't into it, he wasn't into it. So anyway, Christian, moved around, had a couple different relationships. I think he had like 3 or 4 kids. He had a few back in Roswell, and then he had kind of started over and had some kids out in Oklahoma, Connor and Morgan. Now, Christian, he goes by Chris. He was the softball coach for his daughter Morgan's softball team. So I am Ollie's baseball coach, so I totally understand. He was super, super close with his daughter. She looks to be maybe like 12, 13 years old. Their team was called the Silver Stars. So this guy was just like a really great community member. I'm going to tell you, like, if you're a coach in like a little league or something like that, you really get to know the people in that community. And it's like hundreds of kids and hundreds of parents. So, you get known in your area because it's just a large amount of people come and do this every year. So this guy was like a treasured member of the community, a really dedicated dad, softball coach, just a good guy. Now, in the afternoon of July
Yeah.
18th, 2023, the two of these men got into a road rage incident. Uh, Apparently, this guy, Mark, was, I don't know, tailgating, I think, Christian. And Christian did my favorite move and
Okay.
brake checked him. And Mark,
Oh, you were just talking about
I
this. This is
was.
a Cindy
It's
classic.
Cindy Classic. He did Cindy's favorite move here. And he brake checked this asshole, which, like, I feel that so deeply in my soul. And this, you know,
Yeah.
this idiot, this fucking man baby who's just, when you're this much of like a loser internally, ego is like everything. So somebody disrespecting you like that, like
Oh yeah.
you can't accept that because
Mm.
when you know that,
Break out the samurai swords.
yeah, like when you know inside that you're not like a man, any sort of, you know, uh
Hmm.
attack on that manhood, you're going to take to heart because you're so insecure. So this insecure little man baby drove
Yeah.
around and got in front of Christian and like made him stop. So you tell me who the aggressor really is in this situation, because that's going to become a big point of contention here. He gets out of his car.
Okay.
Christian gets out of his car, and Christian, they got like into a yelling match. Christian punched him in the face, and he wasn't continuously attacking him. He just like hit him once. And Mark pulled out his gun and shot Christian to death right there in the street. Right there in the
Wow.
street.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So this 41-year-old, like amazing community member and dad was murdered in cold blood because this other guy is essentially a little bitch. I'm
Wow.
just gonna say it. Just a little fucking bitch. Um Also, I'm gonna say there may have been some racism involved. There may have. I can't say for sure, but Christian is Latino.
Hmm.
And Mark here, this
Okay.
fucking cool guy, this cool army guy that's so tough.
Clearly has that way about him with the thin blue line and whatnot. We know
Yeah.
how he feels about people of
And
color.
saying
Yeah.
that like BLM should be banned. It's like, okay, well, we know we've
Hmm.
got your number, buddy. We know who you are.
Yeah.
So he is arrested. He's charged with first degree murder. And his this is fucking ridiculous. In February, his attorneys attempted to have the case straight up dismissed. They were like, this is a stand your ground case, which yes, they do have in Oklahoma because Oklahoma is a shit pile. And
Hmm.
no offense to our listeners in Oklahoma, we love you. Come live with us out in California. I mean, it's not that much better. We don't have that kind of bullshit. Um, so anyway, they have stand your ground, and his attorneys filed the motion actually in January to have the case dismissed. I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't fucking happen. Uh, so, yeah. Uh, in a police in cam, so the police got there obviously, and in body camera footage, he admitted to shooting him. But he's
Yeah.
trying to say, well, Christian was the aggressor. He
Hmm.
brake checked me. And so he started it. And it's like, if he brake checked you, it's because um it's because you were tailgating him. So you're the fucking aggressor, right? So Oklahoma.
Right. That's an aggressive behavior, tailgating.
Exactly. But he's saying, well,
So
he punched me so hard that I stumbled and my shoe broke, and then I had to get up and shoot him. What probably happened was Christian punched him in the face and then stood there, not attacking him, not doing anything else. And this little man baby just got up and shot him because he feared for his life. No, you didn't. So here's the Oklahoma stand your ground law. Quote, a person who is not engaged in an unlawful activity and who is attacked in any other place where he or she has the right to be has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if he or she reasonably believes it is necessary to do so to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, or this is the fucking crazy part, to prevent the commission of a forcible felony.
Which that's expanding it quite a bit.
quite a bit.
Any felony.
Any
Yeah.
forcible felony. So I do think it has to be like violent.
With force. Okay.
Right. But what somebody weighed in on this dismissal and they said, well, the judge is really going to have to focus on the word reasonably. Is it reasonable for this man to say he thought he was going to be murdered because this other guy punched him in the face after he stopped him in the street to get into an argument? And this same person who kind of said this, he says, quote, if you unlawfully and inappropriately basically started a conflict, you cannot claim self-defense or stand your ground as a defense. That is always a huge issue in these kind of cases. So there is surveillance video of what happened. And the biggest problem for little Marky Mark here is that the video showed him overtaking Christian's car. So that means that he was in front and forced him to stop. Whereas Mark was trying to say, well, he brake checked me and made me get out of my car. And no. It's like, no, motherfucker. You were tailgating. You went around him and forced him to stop, got out of your car aggressively. He met aggression with aggression. He was standing his ground. And then you fucking murdered him. So as of right now, where we stand with this case is that little man baby Mark here is going to trial for murder. He has not yet gone to, I think let me look it up. I was looking it up. It's like one of the things where it's like developing. He was charged. Oh, he's 63.
Yeah.
He's 63. And Christian was 41.
Okay.
So he is charged. He is going the self-defense route. Not a good look. I don't think it's going to work out for him because we have so much evidence that he started it. And you can't start it and then claim self-defense. So I don't know, I don't know what's going to happen, but, I have a feeling that this judge is going to find him guilty. The judge has not made his ruling yet. So I guess he already went to court or went to trial, but they chose a bench trial. So they don't have a jury. They just have a judge, which makes a lot of sense in Oklahoma when you're like a white man who used to be a cop. You roll the dice on a judge.
Don't want the jury.
Yeah, you don't want the jury. You want the judge.
The judge is a much better option.
The judge is probably your homie. He might be like a cousin. You probably work together.
Oh, yeah. Judges,
So what Mark Kotka's piece of shit lawyer said was, regardless of whether the court dismisses this because he has immunity, how the fuck would he have, or whether they find that they don't have enough evidence to say he acted with malice and forethought. Oh no, sorry. Yeah. He went out and was planning to do something that day. He should be able to get out of jail. So basically what they're saying is like, they're not going to be able to prove that he was trying to do anything or that he was the aggressor. Like, he should be given immunity. To which I say, ha fucking ha, dude. Like, I know you have a job to do, but you sound like a fucking asshole. Like, there's fucking video. There's video of him admitting he shot the guy. There's video showing him going around his car and stopping in front of him and making him get out. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
There's also like witnesses who are like all basically saying the same thing, that he was the aggressor. So I don't have an answer for how this is gonna.
Stand your ground shit is fucking shady though, and like it can really be used, I think, to give any white guy carte blanche to feel threatened by anyone doing anything anytime. Like, so it's very flexible.
Even when it's like not you. It's like, oh well, they're committing a felony, so I can fucking shoot them.
It could be like, I shot a black person who was like 20 feet away from me looking the other direction, but I was standing my ground. It's like that kind of thing. Like, it's very shady. So
it's very shady. And the thing is, like, some version of a stand your ground would make a lot of sense for like victims of domestic violence or sex trafficking. Like, those are the people that these laws need to apply to, and we all know they fucking don't.
No, exactly. They don't help the only people they should help.
Yeah, and that's not.
Or like, there's those horrible cases too where women who are being like actively sexually assaulted kill their attackers, and they get like prison sentences. Like, it should actually be for them.
It absolutely should. It's like insane. It's insane. This guy, like, all the photos of him of the victim of Chris was like I don't know. He's like with his kids. He's like wearing softball jerseys. He's like,
yeah, looks like someone you'd know. Just like relatable.
Yeah, and then this other guy is like just
Yeah.
like sucking on Trump's dick like all fucking day. And just,
Oh my god.
like
Yeah.
obsessed with like
Sin-
trans people. Like, ugh. Do you know what?
yeah, seems like he's very insecure in his masculinity.
Oh, he is. He so is. And he, of course,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's just, oh God, I fucking hate this guy so much. I hate this guy. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Officer Kim Potter accidentally shot a criminal who was resisting arrest. She is in jail on trial for her life. Do we all know who Kim Potter is?
Yeah, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, that motherfucker, like, fuck this guy. I hope he goes to jail for the rest of his life. Will he? I doubt it. I doubt it. He's an Oklahoma
Yeah, I
white
doubt
man
it.
cop, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's even going to trial, and not being let off the hook immediately gives me
Yeah, yeah,
tentative hope.
yeah.
Tentative. Like,
No, it's true. I'm sure in other cases he could have just been let go right away.
I mean, what about the fucking shooting in the movie theater over the cell phone the guy thought was a gun? He got off, right?
Yep,
That old motherfucker.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
so
yep, yep.
I mean, it would be a great day for actual justice if this guy doesn't get off, and it looks like it's at least going that way, and he's been in prison since it
Wow.
happened. But we'll see. I'll update when we find out. It should be any day.
You picked two very roastable assholes this week.
I know. I was feeling spicy.
You did.
I was feeling spicy.
You did. I'm really excited for my case. I'm like itching
Okay,
to tell you about
tell
it.
me about it. Tell me about it.
I don't know if you all know this already. It definitely had a lot of news presence back in 2015 when it happened, but maybe you don't remember. But it's a case of Tammy Meyers from Las Vegas. And I am just so excited to hear your reactions and your thoughts. It's a very, I'm not going to give anything away.
Okay.
I'm just really excited. I read like 3 lines and I was like, I have to tell this to Cindy's face and watch her.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay.
It's very ridiculous. Okay. So Tammy here was a nurse. She was a mom of 4, and she's married for 25 years to husband Robert, or Bob Myers, as I'll refer to him. On this particular night here, I don't know what day it is. I didn't get that down. But Tammy took at 10 p.m. It's a little late for me, but I don't know what time is anymore. But she took her daughter Crystal on a late night driving lesson. She was teaching her to drive
At 10 o'clock at night?
10 o'clock at night. Yep. They go to a local middle school parking lot, which does sound like exactly where I learned to drive. I gotta let my cat out 1 second.
She
she's
sounds
gonna
mad.
like lose her mind.
Yeah, I hear the
She's
scritching.
Mm-hmm.
You had enough of farting in your
1 sec.
face. I'm not going to edit this out, you guys.
We don't need scritches
No,
the whole time.
no
Okay.
scritching. Also, Tammy and Bob are the names of one of Rory's brothers and his wife. So I just want to call that out.
There we go. Bob and Tammy.
He has like 9 siblings, so this is going to happen a lot. But I just want to call that out.
Bob's love Tammys.
They do.
Tammys love Bob's. Okay.
They do.
So here we go. So this is going to be a wild sequence of events. So they're in their late night driving lesson. On the way back home from the middle school, they have an incident with a silver sedan. This person driving the sedan drives essentially up on the car and sideswipes them.
Okay.
Kind of, it's unclear to the extent they're not hit. They just come very close.
Okay.
And
in a middle school parking lot?
No, as they're driving home.
Oh, okay. I was like, I missed that part.
So essentially, this silver car goes fast and then like gets really close to them and gets around them in a very reckless way, right?
Okay.
Then as they're going by, Crystal honks at them.
Okay.
Because she's like, "What the fuck? Or are you going too fast?" Right?
Fuck y'all, driving all crazy.
Mm-hmm. So gives a honk. So the driver then apparently blocked their car with his, got out and threatened the mother and daughter and said, quote unquote, "I'm gonna come back for you and your daughter," something to that effect.
Oh, fuck.
And had some other terse words. I don't know if that's the full statement. But blocked the car, got out, and threatened them.
Okay.
So that's supposedly the sequence of events here.
And they can't get out of the way. They're like stuck.
So they do. So the sedan leaves after they threaten them.
Okay.
They leave. That's it. They're quick, get out, threaten, get back in their car, and they go.
Okay.
So Tammy goes home.
Okay.
It's first reported that the sedan followed them home directly from this incident, but that is not what happened. So I'm just going to tell you the correct version so as not to confuse you.
Okay.
What actually happened was Crystal drove home with her mom,
hmm
and Tammy, still furious about this incident, dropped Crystal off essentially, and then got her son Brandon, her 22-year-old her old son, who has a gun, gets him and the gun, and they go back out looking for the car.
Holy shit. So she's mad. I mean, I'd be fucking mad
Yeah.
too. I wouldn't go out looking for the car, but like I'd
No one calls the cops.
oh,
They just go out with the gun.
okay.
They then drive around, and I believe in that school parking lot or another nearby parking lot, I'm not sure if it's the same place,
hmm
but they find a silver sedan of the same description driven by a Derek Andrews with 19-year-old Eric Nausch, who I believe they actually first pull around a few times, like stalking him as an individual, then because they think he was the one
No.
who threatened them. Then they identify this car as the one from earlier. So they follow the car because it's the one they believe threatened them earlier.
hmm
And as the silver car that they're now following pulls away from this parking lot, they start shooting at Tammy.
Oh, wait. What?
So
That's not what I expected you to say.
yeah, but they're being followed. So just okay, there's a lot to wrap your mind around here, but basically they go out to find a silver car. They find a silver car. They find Derek and Eric. They believe Eric was the guy who threatened them earlier.
Right. They start chasing them or following them.
Yes, and then Eric fires a gun at them.
Why does everybody have guns?
Everyone has guns in this story.
That's what I'm saying.
So then Tammy is essentially fleeing the car they were following and seeking out while Eric is firing at them
Okay.
and chasing them in this car.
Well, once you start chasing, like you can't then if you're firing at
you're
somebody
chasing.
because they're following
Yeah.
you and then you start following them, like that changes everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go back to the Meyers household, which, okay, there's 400 questions I have about this, but I'm going to state one of them right up top, which is if someone is shooting a gun at you and obviously following you, why would you go back to your
Why
home?
wouldn't you go to like the nearest police station? Drive
Why
there.
would you go back to your
Don't
home?
go home.
So they went back to their home, and Tammy gets out in the driveway, Tammy and Brandon, and confront them with their gun, Brandon with the gun anyway, and it's standing in the driveway. Derek drives the car by, and Eric reaches out and shoots several shots, and some of them hit Tammy and kill her.
And her son didn't shoot back and hit them.
No, Brandon is exchanging fire
Okay.
at this point with Eric. There is a gun battle
There's a
in this fucking like
shootout.
cul-de-sac. Yes.
I feel like we're
Yes.
talking about Tombstone again here. Like this keeps like
Yes.
coming up.
Yes.
Okay.
So Tammy is shot. She didn't die right away, but she died 2 days later in the hospital.
Good God.
Yeah. So a sketch is put out of the suspect in hopes of identifying him. I have questions about that as well, but we're going to get to that. And within I think like a week, doesn't take that long. Eric, or Baby G is how he's also identified.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Baby G now who's 19 is identified as this person. When he's arrested, he is shirtless with very low pants. I'm just going to say that. His underwear is entirely visible, like 100% visible underwear.
He's got him belted around his
looks
knees.
like,
oh.
yes, he also looks like he is about 10 years old.
Oh my
he looks
God.
like 19 going on 10.
Oh my God, I just looked him up. He also looks like Charles Manson in the eyes.
But he also looks like a baby.
He does look like a baby.
Tiny,
he
tiny
looks like a
10-year-old baby.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I also saw the picture of his underwear.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
All the underwear is there.
Oof.
So yeah. Okay. So as he's arrested, Bob, and we're going to talk a lot about Bob Meyers here, who's very flamboyant. He yells at the news cameras, "There's the monster that did it. He's 1 block away," because Eric lived 1 block away. We're going to talk about that too.
Oh,
Bob
that's
is
interesting.
yelling.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So here's a shocker, and this comes out maybe like a week, 2 weeks or so after the initial reports of what happened.
Mhm.
Tammy knew Eric.
What the fuck?
Tammy and the family knew Eric. He lived 1 block away. And we later hear, some
So,
details about this. Bob, as he's being arrested, Bob talks to the news cameras and he says, quote, "She knew he'd gotten bad, but not this bad. She was good to him. She fed him. She gave him money. She told him to pull his pants up. And also, she spent countless hours consoling him," which I'm like, for what?
she told him to pull
Um,
his pants up is fucking incredible in that
and
sentence.
he didn't.
Of
He
course.
didn't.
Of course he didn't.
He clearly did
Also,
not.
like literally and figuratively, he did not pull up his pants.
No.
Also, can I just like, okay, if you're gonna tell me, I know, but I just want to let you know that I'm wondering if they knew each other, why did this happen? Like, why did they shoot at her? If they knew her, why did they follow her home? Why did they start a gun battle? Like, what is happening? What is happening?
I'm gonna address all of these questions
Okay.
and more. So I have so many questions. I have so many questions about this case. The more I read about it, the more it bothered me. Like I was up at 3 a.m. like feeding my baby, like, but wait, but why? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense.
No.
Okay.
No.
So okay. So back to Eric here. He's
Mhm.
charged with and would plead guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, second-degree murder, and a bunch of firearms charges. The driver, Derek, pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and accessory to murder.
Okay.
So when he pleads guilty right away, he owns up to it. But according to Eric, here's his fucking story from his perspective. He's at a park, so I guess it's a parking lot or a park or something,
Uh-huh.
when he sees a green car, the Myers car here, following him, like circling around, and he gets freaked out.
Right.
So he thought it was this is his story.
Okay.
He said he thought it was someone else entirely who had been threatening him and his family. So he has some other beef with someone who's been threatening him. So he jumped in his friend Derek's Audi and the silver car, and took off after the green car, thinking, I'm going to get these people who've threatened my family. So he fired shots at Tammy and Brandon as they drove away. And he kind of does some fudging of things where he's like, he kind of says he remembers leaving, and then he just remembers like ending up at the cul-de-sac. So he kind of like fudges, like, I don't remember a lot of it, right? He's doing that trick.
Mm-hmm.
But he says basically he's softening the idea that he was doing a chase and shooting. But basically he testifies that, he shot them in a case of mistaken identity. And that's what happened. So he says he's heartbroken and crying. In the interview, he says, quote, "My intentions were to take someone bad out, not a loving, caring mom. My intention was to take someone who was going to hurt my family out, not someone's mom, not Tammy."
You could see her. You could see her. She's not wearing a bad guy out like costume. Like, what the fuck? You probably know that's her house. How is this?
Yeah.
What?
So here's the part where I'm going to ask several questions.
Go.
And okay. Number one, this is seemingly a double case of mistaken identity, right? Because he did not threaten them to begin with, or cut them off.
Right.
And obviously he thought they were someone else. But in order for those two things to be true, there's several problems with that, because, and I've yet to see any article like adequately address these big glaring holes in both stories from both parties.
Yeah.
Because if they got out of the car and threatened Tammy and Crystal, then wouldn't Crystal have seen this guy's fucking face?
Or Tammy?
There's a sketch done. Right. But there's a sketch done. So wouldn't Tammy and Crystal know the difference between this person they know, Eric, and a whole ass other person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't they know the difference?
Wouldn't they know that it's not the kid that has like been at their house many times?
Yes. How could that be mistaken? If they've got a good look at this person, how could they think it's Eric if it's not Eric? Secondly, for Eric to have a true case of mistaken identity on his end, okay, granted, he could maybe, if they're in the car and they have tinted windows, not see who's in the car. But maybe he knows their car,
Right. First of all, yeah.
Second of all, when he shoots them, shouldn't he have looked at them then? Because he's looking like it's his close range. He would have to have like basically looked away and fire without looking at who he's shooting at.
Or the house that they're in front of, which is a house that he knows well
the
because he's
cul-de-sac.
been there.
Yes.
There's something else happened. There's no fucking way that any of this is real. There's no fucking way.
Like he would have to basically close his eyes, shoot, and drive away for him to be completely unaware that who he shot was Tammy.
So what really happened? Like what? Because none of what you've talked about this far, I think, is true. I don't think any of this is really what happened. A 10 o'clock driving lesson in a parking lot sounds like bullshit. All these mistaken identities sound like fucking bullshit.
So Eric's attorneys come out and say, for him, this is self-defense. He thinks he's being attacked and threatened by people who already threatened his family. This is mistaken identities. That's the official story here.
Nope.
And they're going with that. Tammy's going with, she's trying to protect her family from this person who threatened her. She thought it was Eric. Double mistaken identity. And we just went over why that's a very confusing story from both ends.
Yes.
So as the true story, well, the story that they went back out searching, goes at, Bob Myers actually kind of goes on like a press junket, like a PR thing, trying to make sure that like the family's seen as like heroic. They hold a candlelight vigil in their street. Crystal and the brother Brandon give statements, and Bob gives like a long series of 20 interviews. Crystal says that her mom was protecting her family. Brandon says that he was just doing what he had to do to protect his family. Bob Myers says his son was a hero. Bob says there were mistakes made, like every one of us has made in our lives, but this particular mistake was to keep a bigger mistake from happening.
No, you all are they all on like meth? Like what's happening?
Crystal said, I just wonder like why it all happened. I just wonder why would somebody want to kill somebody? Listen, your mom went out following this person,
right?
Like with a gun.
Like I don't,
dude.
Like this is why it happened. Like I don't understand what is wrong. What is wrong with these people? Truly, what is wrong with these people? Are they on drugs?
Prior to the sentencing, Eric tried to get his guilty plea withdrawn, but this is denied. He also tried to claim that his team didn't have enough time to prepare for the procedure, but everything pushes forward, and Eric is sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole, which is surprising to me that, like, if there's any truth, I mean, the official narrative on both fronts is like agreeing essentially with mistaken identity. So if that's really the case, life in prison seems insane.
They gave him the possibility of parole.
Yes, but life. Derek, the getaway driver, gets 5 to 15 years in prison for driving the car.
Wow.
Eric, who looks 12, like I said, he was sobbing at his sentencing. Like he just is like a little boy.
Ugh, maybe that's why his eyes were so wide, because he was like shocked at the sentence.
At the sentencing, Myers, Bob Myers, the guy here, says, quote, "Am I going to forgive you? Never, ever. I hope for me and mine that you burn in hell and you get what you have coming to you today because you, mister, are an animal."
This guy sounds like a fucking...
And Bob...
Fuck this guy.
Bob himself says this is a case of mistaken identity. So Bob, how is it that you think this guy was actually shooting someone he thought was a threat to his family, but you're also calling him an animal?
Yeah, this guy's a fucking...
What?
This guy...
He also has a cop mustache.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
He also has a cop mustache. Looks like a cop. Also, within a year of these events, Bob Myers and the family worked with a publicist to get a book out.
Yeah.
To control the narrative that they're all heroes. Okay, so that's the story. So, Cindy, what do we think really happened? Because I have a couple ideas. I have a couple ideas. Number one, my first idea is that this person did not get out of the car and block them in the street.
No.
That's my first idea.
That didn't happen.
Because then they could think this was Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like if they didn't get that look at him, then the mistaken identity becomes possible.
Do you actually think
I
this
think
started with a road rage incident?
I think these people are this woman is so insane that it could be that they got sideswiped by a silver car. That's it. She trumped up and invented the part where they got out and threatened her to make them sound scarier.
Okay.
And then they found a silver car and thought, oh, this is Eric. This was the car. Eric did this. So, like, that's possible. That's one possible scenario. But the weirdness coming from Eric's end, where he had to have known he was shooting at Tammy, makes me think there's bullshit coming from both ends, and it's a personal beef.
Something happened. There's no road rage incident. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
There's no road rage incident. Tammy and her son went out to meet up with these two guys. Something went fucking
Yep.
sideways. They were both already carrying guns, so something weird was happening. There was no mistaken identity. There was no mistake. Like,
Yep.
it was 100%. I think it would also make sense for Bob here to be kind of saying, oh yeah, it was a mistaken identity narrative, to save face on behalf of his dead wife. So he doesn't want to
Mhm.
say my wife was out there, I don't know, buying drugs, probably, would be my guess, is that she's buying drugs from this guy. My wife and son were not buying drugs together from this local, dealer or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I could also see a scenario though where like they're out and something personal happens and Eric like engages with them or something and they go back out to find him. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing could play out kind of like they said, but for personal reasons.
I just cannot imagine, like, where did they find him? Like, where was the car when they stumbled upon it?
Stumbled upon him. Yeah.
Because I don't believe you're going to just stumble upon somebody whose car you
Mhm.
probably also know because you know them.
Mhm.
Like, you're not going to stumble upon those people by accident at like 11 o'clock at night somewhere and then engage
Yeah.
in a random double mistaken identity thing that ends.
Double mistaken
No,
identity.
this is all
Yeah.
bullshit.
You see why this makes me insane, this case? And like what's also crazy is like I've seen criticism online and like comments, for example, or
Mhm.
Reddit or whatever, of like, well, she shouldn't have fucking gone out there looking for this, road rage attacker with the gun. And like she, that was like her being an aggressor. I've seen that line of criticism, but I really haven't seen people being like, this all is bullshit.
I can't believe so
And
many people are
like,
just not critically thinking
yeah,
about what they're being
yeah,
told. I mean, I
yeah.
can believe
I
it.
mean,
I take that back. I can believe it.
I mean, I guess in some universe, there could be a universe where both parties are just really fucking stupid
I mean,
and they actually aren't thinking straight and are just shooting blind and following whoever, whenever. I guess there's a universe where you could believe this, but that's what everyone seems to have accepted. And the more I thought about this, I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
even if they're
If they
very,
knew each
very
other,
stupid and very, very immature and reactionary, which I
yeah,
completely believe, there's just, yes, do the people in the story have the capacity to act in those idiotic ways? Yes. Is it possible in my mind that all of those things happened all at once in one night and led to that?
yeah,
No. Because there's no
yeah,
way that he didn't recognize what house he was at, the car that was being driven,
mm-hmm,
the people that got out of it. And there's no way that
yeah,
she didn't recognize the guy that wasn't in the
yeah,
car that he was in.
yeah,
That's a lie. My thinking is that it was some sort of other unscrupulous thing going down, maybe not drugs, who knows, but her family has the incentive to continue this narrative to keep her memory unblemished. And
mm-hmm.
Eric has the incentive to keep this narrative because that's his best chance of getting parole at some point.
Making it sound like self-defense. Yeah.
Whereas if he says, no, she was coming to me for whatever reason, we got in an argument, I chased her home and shot her, that's first degree. That's first
Mm-hmm.
degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to want to
Yes,
tell the truth because that's going to fuck him over. And they're not going to want to tell the
exactly.
truth because then it makes their mom look bad. She already looks bad, but it's going to make her look whatever actually happened is a lot worse than what they're saying.
Yeah, and like, the other confusing thing is why did they put out a sketch? And why did they try to like put out a thing right away? The family wasn't transparent right away about the fact that they knew him.
Right.
And
Right.
I think, and like, so that's also weird. Why are you trying to hide that fact? And this guy's into criminal shit. He's a shady dude.
Yeah.
He's got like issues in that way. Why does Tammy know him? Like, I actually couldn't find, other than the fact of the virtue of them being neighbors, I could not find a single
Well,
thing
how old is her
that
son?
explained 22.
And this kid's
So
like 19?
similar age.
Yeah, they
But
probably
I didn't
like
see a
hung
single
out.
no, but I didn't see a single thing that said because the son's was his friend. I didn't see a single thing explaining why Tammy is so close to Eric. Like, that's odd to me. Just because you're not friends with all your fucking neighbors. This is a suburban neighborhood. Why are there necessarily like your best bessies with this like 19-year-old criminal kid with his pants down? Like, why?
I want to ask Reddit. Reddit always has like random fucking answers, you know? Like I feel like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
could find something. I don't know. Like this is fucking weird. It wasn't road rage. It wasn't. But I love
right?
that
I
that's
mean,
their narrative. That's fucking crazy.
but like, yeah, like I said, I'm just surprised I haven't seen that much like challenging that. And yeah, and like I said, the fact that it comes out, um, yeah, as like the fact that it comes out as like, yeah, they followed. There's a road rage incident, and the road rage attacker followed us home immediately. That's what comes out first.
Right.
Then there's another step where later on, I think they admit, oh no, we went out looking for them.
Right.
Like, that's a huge difference. So I think they were not, the fact that they weren't honest is says a lot.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I don't know. I don't believe any of this. I don't believe it.
It's so, isn't that fucking weird?
It's a lie.
A whole trial existed with this mistaken identity thing, I guess,
And
and he was sentenced
everybody,
to life in prison.
I mean, what's interesting to me is that no cops or detectives, fuck cops, but detectives have even come forward and been like, we know this is bullshit, but we can't get anybody to tell us the truth, so we have to move forward with this.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I mean, the kid got probably the same or a similar sentence that he would have had anyway. This is a
Yeah.
fucking head scratcher, though, dude.
Oh yeah, I found some people on Reddit who were questioning. Once this guy says she had enough detail to go find the vehicle, but when asking the son for a description, the son was like, "I don't know, it was gray." I guess.
What? It was
Um,
gray,
how
I
did they?
guess.
Yeah, how did he not have a license plate written down? Also, if my mom was just shot in the head and I had a gun, why wouldn't he get in the car and follow them then?
What?
It's a good point. Um,
Oh, oh, look. I found something. You want to hear it?
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's from the fucking Daily Mail, so take it with a grain of
Mm,
salt.
okay.
Was Vegas road rage murder mom actually buying drugs from her killer? I said so. Amazing claim in
Cindy just said
case,
so. Yeah.
which has baffled country. It said she's buying Xanax from him and had been for years.
Explains why they're so close.
Local resident Roberts. I can talk. Local resident Robert Selig, 47, thinks he knows the truth after being part of Nausha's inner circle before he was turned on and threatened by him and his friends. He said nobody chased nobody down. The son and mother left the Myers residence looking for Eric on a drug deal gone bad. That's the word on the street, a prescription drug deal gone bad. You know what I believe? I believe this Daily Mail. I hate to
I
say
can't.
it.
Wow. I
Ah.
mean, look, I don't believe the official story. That's for sure.
Yeah. No. Oh, somebody also said they saw it on CNN. But no, now they're saying they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think the story that we have is bullshit. I think the truth is much closer, really unfortunately, to what the Daily Mail said, which like pains me to even say, but I think that's where we're at. What are we doing next week?
Sorry, I'm like lost on Reddit now. I'm gonna keep reading this.
Should we just do a
So next
follow-up?
week, yeah, follow up the Tales from Reddit, Tammy Meyers edition. No, I already mentioned this to you, but I was thinking about doing murders of New York City because why not? It's like a vast pool
Oh
of
my God.
stuff. I know we've done a couple, more than a couple big ones over the years, but why not?
Is it weird that because I love New York so much, I'm more excited for this? That's weird, right?
Yeah, and we did like Chicago, we did a couple cities, but I thought it would be fun. And I don't love New York, so we can keep having that debate.
Oh yeah. You can continue being wrong. It's your right to be
I
wrong.
don't like it. I mean, it's insanely expensive, and you can't find lunch for under $30.
Weren't you born in New York?
No, I lived in upstate New York for a little bit,
Oh, right.
so
You weren't born there,
not
though.
close to the cool part. No,
Well, I didn't say New
Um,
York, New York. I said New York. You were in upstate New York. Yeah.
upstate.
Upstate
Yeah,
New York, despite
Oh,
being extraordinarily cold, is really fucking beautiful and
it's beautiful.
weird and like kind of cool.
It's gorgeous,
Yeah.
though. Yeah,
I went on a little vacation up there with a friend and saw this abandoned girls' school that was like fucking gigantic and absolutely fucking terrifying. And like I saw where
yeah,
Timothy Leary like had like a drug party house and
nice.
like yeah,
I'd love to go back in fall because it's so beautiful. The
it is
leaves are so beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
there in like March, I think, January, something like that. So
Oh,
it was cold, but it was fucking cool. Anyway, very excited for this. I think we're gonna get
yeah.
some good ones. We also had a request to do like southern Pennsylvania, I think. Suggestions. Let's see.
Oh,
Murders of Southeast Pennsylvania. So maybe we'll do 2 locations in a row.
okay.
We'll keep it
Yeah,
East
okay.
Coast.
We might have touched on that when we did Appalachia a little bit because I know southern Pennsylvania kind of veers into that
Yeah.
zone.
So maybe now you guys know our list for the
hmm
next 2 weeks. So everybody get
Perfect.
excited. Okay, awesome. So we'll do that next week. Thanks everybody for your patience. I should have a more normal schedule starting I want to say this week, but hopefully this week. Fingers crossed. But very soon we'll be back doing things in a regular amount of time.
Mhm.
So thanks everybody for your patience and continued listening. We love you. We appreciate you. Please rate, review. Follow us on Instagram. What is it? Instagram, Twisted Listers.
Twisted Listers
All
PCAST.
right. Somebody also said, Seamus, who suggested the Pennsylvania, said that we haven't shouted out our email in a long time. So they were really lucky to find us. So our email
Nice.
is
twistedlisterspod@gmail.com.
and our Patreon, you can just search Twisted Listers. You'll find us. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. And until next week,
Stay.
off our
List.
list. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.